When a husband and wife separate and reunite several times, they become brother and sister. Welcome to our next episode. In the last, we did only the introduction. We did only the introduction to Surah 17, Bani Israel. Today, we're going to the signs proper. And of course, it's going to be sign 1. Namshi. Subhanallazi asra bi abdihi laylan min al-masjid al-harami ila al-masjid al-aqsa. Let's stop there. In English, glory to God. That's the interpretation of our elders. You see, Subhanallah, and the lazy here is glory be to who, to he who, to he who. Glory. The actual listen, going word by word, is supposed to be Subhanallah, glory be to he who. But here, our honorable, wise elders have interpreted it as glory to Allah, or glory to God, and that God, that Allah is in brackets, glory to Allah, who did take the servants for a journey by night. Allazi asra bagdihi, his servants, bagdihi, his servants, laylan, by night, min al-masjid al-haram, from the sacred mosque, sacred S-A-C-R-E-D, Masjid al-Haram, ila Masjid al-Aqsa, to the furthest mosque. We hear it today, we say Al-Aqsa Mosque, Al-Aqsa Mosque, Al-Aqsa Mosque, Al-Aqsa Mosque. But in Java, the proper pronunciation is Aqsa. It is lengthened. That's the furthest mosque. إلى مسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا لنريه آياتنا, to the furthest mosque, whose presence حوله we did bless. Barakna, Allazi Barakna, we did bless. Hawlahu, presence. Okay, so I'm not calling the word right. Presence is spelled Precincs. Hawlaha, presence. Lenuria min ayatina. Lunriyahu min ayatina. In order that we might show him some of our signs. Him here referring to who? The Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to show him our signs. Ayatna, lunriyahu ayatna, to show him our signs. Good. Lunriyahu min ayatna, to show him some mean, to show him min ayatna, to show him some of our signs. Innahu huwa sami'ul basir. Innahu huwa sami'ul basir. For he is the one who heareth and seeth, into brackets, all things. Mm. So, and he here refers to God the Almighty, Allahu, God the Almighty. Mm. He is all hearing and all seeing. Mm. Nothing can escape him when it comes to sound. Nothing can escape him when it comes to sight. But little do we know. And this, again, I've explained several times, is one unique thing about the Quran that is not seen anywhere. At the end, there is the invocation of God. And here the invocation is Huwa Sami'ul Basirun. Is there in other places? All right. There is a commentary to Sacred Mosque. And no, not that. Journey by Night. There is a commentary to Journey by Night. Another one to Sacred Mosque. And yet another one to He sees all things, that invocation. So 3-in-1 commentary. Let's go there. 2166. The reference, that Sacred Mosque, the reference is to the Israel, for which see the introduction to Surah. So we go back to the previous uh, episode and we see that introduction. There we see the reference to Isra, Sacred Mosque. Then 2167, Masjid is a place of prayer. Simple. We've explained it before. Some of us think masjid means mosque. No, God is God. He doesn't differentiate mosque from synagogue, from church, from temple, from no. All are houses of prayer. This is another unique thing about the Quran and about Islam in all. It recognizes every place of worship, temple, mosque, a church, synagogue, whatever it is. So let's take note. Masjid. Masjid is a place of prayer. Here it refers to Kaaba. Yes, in this particular instance, it refers to the Kaaba at Makkah. We say Kaaba, but it is actually Kaaba, the Kaaba of Makkah. It had not yet been cleared of the idols and rededicated exclusively to the one true God. It was symbolical of the new message which was being given to mankind. Let's try to explain this. Let's try to explain this. It had not yet been cleared of idols. In other words, the Kaaba was a place of idols. And I've heard people saying that the Kaaba is idolized, is a place of idols and whatnot. Yes, it's a place of idols, but it's a place of God. God owns every little bit of the earth. He can turn it into anything. It was full of idols, and God, through Abraham and the son Ishmael, our grandparents, changed it, made it a proper place of His own. It is already His own, but He made it a proper place for us to worship Him instead of worshiping idols. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Pardon me. Okay, so symbolical of the message which was being given to God. Okay, now we go to 2168. Oh, I see. 2166, 27. Yes, it's not threefold. The commentary is not threefold, but rather four. 4-in-1 commentary. Now we go to the third one, which is 2168. And that is Al Aqsa mosque, the proper pronunciation being Aqsa, Al-Aqsa Mosque, Masjid al-Aqsa. Mm. The furthest mosque must refer to the site of the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem on the hill of Moriah, at or near which stands the dome of the rock called also the Mosque of Hadrat Omar. Full stop. This, this, and the mosque known as the furthest mosque, Masjid al-Aqsa in brackets, were completed by the Amir Abdul Malik in AH 68, in AH 58. Full stop, I believe. Mm. So this is unique about the Quran. It is also history, historical or religious history, mm, known as, sorry, Amir Abdul Malik in AH 68. Furthest, we now start a new sentence. Furthest into comma, because it was the place of worship. Furthest west, which was known to the Arabs in the time of the Holy Prophet. So Aqsa got its name because it was the place of worship furthest west. Let's say furthest west, mm, which was known to the Arabs in the time of the Holy Prophet. Let's take note, viewers, and column now. Then it was a sacred place to both Jews and Christians. It was a sacred place to both Jews and Christians. But the Christians then had the upper hand, as it was included in the Byzantine Empire. And Byzantine is in brackets. After Byzantine, we have Roman Empire. So when we hear Byzantine Empire, it simply means Roman Empire. The Romans, which were very powerful by then, now their power has vanished into thin air. That's the work of God. And the power of America, no doubt, will vanish into thin air. It's a promise by God. Ajili Musamba, every power has its period to exist. No doubt about that. Even if it's at the world, even if it's going to be the end of the world, it is still the end. It will still be the end of America, or the end of the power of America. Pardon me. All right. Byzantine Empire, which maintained a patriarch at Jerusalem. Full stop. The chief dates in connection with the temple are: it was furnished by Solomon about BC 1004. We all know BC 1004. BC means before Christ. BC 1004. Semicolon. Destroyed by the Babylonians under Nebuchadnezzar about 586 BC. And that will be maybe 104, maybe 6 centuries later, probably, or less than that. Destroyed about 586 BC. Rebuilt under Israel. Nehemiah. Rebuilt under Israel, Nehemiah, about 515 BC. Turned into a heathen idol temple. Turned into a heathen idol temple by one of Alexander's successors, comma. Heathen here is spelled Heathen. Mm. But Alexander's successor, Antiochus Antiochus Epiphanes, Antiochus Epiphanes, comma, 167 BC, semicolon, restored by Herod BC, restored by Herod, BC 17 to AD 29. So we all know Herod was in power, was a provincial governor of Babylon in power while Jesus was born. So his period ranges from before the birth of Jesus till after the birth. And he threatened to finish Jesus Christ, alayhi salam, a noble man of God, a man of God nearest to God, or a man of God who is among the people who are nearest to God, Jesus Christ, alayhi salam. All right. Restored by Herod 17 to AD 29. AD, if I remember, is Anno Domini also. I think it's Roman Anno Domini, if I'm not right. Please pardon me. My brain is getting retired. Okay. Semicolon. And completely razed to the ground by Emperor Titus, AD 70. So you see that place at Erasmus has always been under changes. What do we say? Bone of contention. That's always been under changes. It's not just today. And only God knows when these changes will stop. It moves from one power to the other, one power to the other. About 1004 BC till after the birth of Jesus, even running into 2024. That's about how many years? Probably 3,000 years. For over 3,000 years, that place Al-Aqsa Mosque and the surroundings, Hawlahu, and the surroundings have always been a bone of contention. Have always changed hands from one power to the other. All right. Antiochus Epiphanes, 167 BC, restored by Herod. Restored by Herod. This is where we stop. And completely razed to the ground by the Emperor Titus, AD, in AD 70. These ups and downs, in fact, that is the right term to use. All the changes here that are described as ups and downs. These ups and downs are among the greatest signs in religious history. And that is commentary 2168, the third commentary to sign 1. We go to the fourth commentary, and that is 2169. For he sees all things. He heareth and sees all things. That is where we're going to now. And that is denoted by commentary 2169. God's knowledge comprehends all things without any curtain of time. Without any curtain of time. Curtain here is spelled Curtain. Without any curtain of time or any separation of space. Oh my God. He can therefore see and hear all things. And the mirage was a reflection of the knowledge. And the mirage was a reflection of the knowledge. Mirage here is spelled capital M-I apostrophe R-E-R-A-G, and the A is lengthened, R lengthened A-J. mirage was a reflection of this knowledge. Then we go to a new paragraph, to 2169, to the same commentary. In this and the subsequent verses, the reference to God is generally in the first person plural. The reference to God is usually in the first person plural. We, that's first person plural. I, first person singular. We, first person plural. And it always refers to God. In other places, he actually says I, but in most places, say we. I believe, pardon me if I'm wrong, it's because God does recognize witnessing. So, and the witnessing is normally done by the angels. Witnessing. So it says we, it means God, and probably the other angels. But it's also, as the commentators say, it's also a sign of respect for God, nobleness, His nobleness. Okay. Generally in the first person plural. But in the first and last clause of this verse, it is in the third person singular. Third person, he, I, first person being I or we, then he. But I'm getting confused. First person is I, second person is you, and then the third person is he or she, something like that. Okay. Trying to remember my English, the time that I was learning English. But in the first and last clause of this verse, it is in the third person singular. Glory to Allah. Yes, glory to God. In other words, glory to God. Not glory to me or to we or to you or he, but glory to God, Him. Glory to God who did take His servant. Who is that servant? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who did take his servant. Remember this commentary. It doesn't complete the same the sentence. Then semicolon. He is the one. That's third person. That's the third person that is being talked about here. That's the third person singular that is being talked about in the previous verse of sentence or phrase or phrase. It is one. In each of these instances, the clause expresses the point of view of God's creatures, of God's creatures who glorify Him. Him in capital letter, capital H, who glorify Him. Him referring to who? God the Almighty again. And whose hearing and seeing are ordinarily so limited that they can do nothing but glorify Him. And whose glory, oh, where am I? God's creatures who glorify Him. God's creatures glorifying Him here. Him here is God. But here we are referring to the creatures and the creatures of God whose hearing and seeing are ordinarily so limited that they can do nothing but glorify Him. Make a sound here, make a sound in space. God will hear it. Maybe you should ask the astronauts. They will tell you when they're in space and they make a sound. Nobody hears it. There are barriers or zones, but God will hear it. No curtain. of sound or space or whatever it is. There's no curtain. He hears it, make a sound in space. God hears it. Nothing but to glorify him. So man has nothing to do but just to glorify him. Mm. Uh, and when one of his creatures is raised up to hear and see the signs, it is they who glorify him. Mm. Let me take that again. And those hearing and seeing are ordinarily so limited that they can do nothing but to glorify him when one of his servants is raised to hear and see the signs. So Muhammad was raised up, mm, to hear and see the signs. It is they who glorify him. It is the servants, and we, servants of the servants, should glorify him. And that is the fourth commentary to sign 1. We now go to sign 2. Well, Atena Musa, we're now moving from the Prophet Muhammad to the Prophet Moses, alayhima salam, peace be unto both of them. وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل. And we gave Moses the book, Atena Musa al-Kitaba. And there's commentary to read the book. We will come when we will go there, when we finish the sentence. And Atena Musa al-Kitaba. And made it a guide to the children of Israel. وَجَعَلْنَا هُدَى لِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. أَلَّا تَتَّخِذُوا أَلَّا تَتَّخِذُوا مِن دُونِي وَكِيلًا. Commanding, and we made it a guide to the children of Israel. Into brackets, commanding the children of Israel, Allah, take not other than me. Allah tatakhuzuni, that's God speaking. Allah tatakhuzuni, take not for worship other than me. Allah tatakhuzuni, wakilan, the disposer of affairs. But there is brackets there, the disposer of, into brackets, your affairs. Your is the affairs of Israelis. This was a message direct to the Israelis, and of course, to mankind in general. And Latatahuzo, that's in the book of Moses. This is God telling us to tell the people of Moses not to take anybody as a disposer of affairs, wakilan, other than him. And we hear Muslims say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakilu. And that's the word wakilan, disposer of affairs. It's only God who disposes affairs. He can dispose in 1 second or within the blink of an eye or even less than the blink of an eye. It can also be one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 1 decade, 1 century. He is the disposer of affairs, and he will dispose of all affairs. There are 2 commentaries to read, 2170 and 2171. Let's go to 2170. The book, yes, the book, Al-Kitaba, that's the book that was given Moses. Semicolon. The revelation that was given to Moses. The revelation that was given to Moses. It was there clearly laid down that those who followed Moses must consider God as the only God. And I believe that is the Torah, the original Torah. Okay, full stop. And then into brackets we have now, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Into brackets, God, thou shall have no other gods before me, semicolon. Thou shalt not take unto thee any graven image, dot, 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 inverted commas closed. So thou begins with inverted commas and it ends with unto thee any graven image. Pardon me, any graven image. Dot, 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 dot. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. That's image. Them here referring to image. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Pardon Pardon me. Thou shalt not bow them that thyself to them, nor serve them. Colon. For I, the Lord thy God, am jealous. I'm a jealous God. Where is it? Nor serve them. For I, the God, but I, the Lord thy God. So I here is again first person plural. For I, the Lord thy God, am jealous. I'm a jealous God. Dot, 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 inverted commas close, etc. Then we have into brackets Exodus 23 to 5. So if you go to Exodus 20, chapter 3 to 5, you'll find this phrase there. Remember, the Quran enjoins Muslims or people read or believers in the Quran to refer to the old, to the earlier revelations. And here it is Exodus 22, 3 to 5 to find that God, I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, is there. And Exodus is in brackets, full stop. These are the words of English Bible. These are the words of the English Bible. Full stop. As a matter of fact, the spirit of the Mosaic teachings, the spirit of the Mosaic teaching went further. As a matter of fact, the spirit of the Mosaic teaching went further. Mosaic, referring to Moses, went further, full stop. It referred all things to the providence of God. So those of us who don't know much about the Torah, which we call Old Testament, this is it. God is a full stop at the providence of God. Okay, a column. God is a disposer of all affairs. Wakilan. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Sufficient is for me is God as the disposer of all things. God is a disposer of all things, and we are to look to none but Him, God. Okay, this is Islam. Oh my God. Simple. You say, this is Islam. Okay, comma. And the mirage showed that it was a teaching of God from the most ancient times, and yet it was violated by the very people who claim to be its custodians, and that is the Israelis. Okay. We go to the second part of the comment, and it's against other than me, 2171. Mm. Note the transition from we in the first clause to me. Yes, I said it before. Sometimes God refers to himself as me, I, sometimes as we. Mm. Then here the commentator is telling us, note the transition from we in the first clause to me, from we to me in the second clause. Full stop. The first clause refers to the majesty of God as the heavenly, that's we, as the heavenly king. The second clause refers to his personal interest in all of our affairs. So that we is used to describe the majesty of God, the mightiness of God. Mm. But then, when it comes to me here, his personal interest in all our affairs. It's a personal attribute. Mm. We is attribute of majesty, and me personal. Mm. All right. We now go to, and that was second commentary to sign 2. We now go to sign 3. Zuriyata man hamalna ma'anuhin. Zuriyata man hamalna ma'anuhin. Zuriyata man hamalna ma'anuhin. Oh, ye that are sprung from those whom we carried in the ark, in brackets, whom we carried in the ark. We remove the bracket, it reads, O ye that are sprung from those we carried with Noah, whom we carried with Noah. Mm. Uh, uh, and there is a commentary to that, 2172, with Noah. Verily, it's an exclamation mark after Noah. Then we go to, verily, he was a devotee, most grateful. Indeed, referring to Noah, verily, he was a devotee, most grateful. Mahanoa. Innahu kana abdan shakuran. Innahu kana abdan shakuran, most grateful. And elsewhere in the Quran, it tells us a good Muslim must always be grateful. You must be among those who are grateful. Shakurun. You must be among those who are grateful. Shakurun. Other attributes of the of good believers is Sabirin, patience and patient and endurance. Mm. Salihin, righteous. Mominu, believers. Muhsinin, doing good and whatnot. All right, we now we finished with that sign 3. We're now going to the commentary, which is 2172. 2172. 2172. After the deluge of the time of Noah, the only descendants of Noah were those who were saved in the ark with him. Full stop. They had special reason to celebrate the praises of God, but they relapsed into idolatry. Yes, it was the time of Noah, rather, that idolatry started. You see how mankind can be ungrateful after God finished everybody and took them in the ark with Noah and came. Instead of being grateful, they rather reverted to idol worship. Only during the time of Noah. It wasn't there during the time of Adam, nor the time of Idris. Mm. Okay. Uh, but they relapsed into idolatry, sin, and abominations. I didn't finish it. They relapsed into idolatry, sin, and abominations. They are reminded of the true and sincere devotion of Noah himself. He himself was not. This particular thing about the prophets. Mm. So you can see there might be thousands of people, but only one person may be righteous, and that person is always looked down upon. Nobody respects him. Mm. Uh, may we strive to be among those one persons. Pardon me. Mm. Okay. And sincere devotion of Noah himself. They are reminded of the true and sincere devotion of Noah himself, as, as contrasted with the unworthiness of Noah's descendants. And we are there when it's Noah's descendant, I and you and every other bad person. Our great grandparents were washed, swallowed by the water. Let me use the word swallow, by the floods. Mm. uh, with the unworthiness of Noah's descendants, especially the children of Israel. And that's commentary 21, 71, 72, 21, 72 to sign 3. Viewers, I think we pause here. When we come, back, we shall go to sign 4. God willing. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Au revoir. And may God be with you all.